All right, well, welcome everyone to Facilitator Call 23 for November. I have had a few apologies. John Stanchel in particular just stands out, and I just wanted to acknowledge John because he has helped us with the last three facilitator calls since the E forum and done a really cool job of getting some discussion going and talking through various issues. So it's been really cool, but unfortunately he had a RMPP, I think he had a day with one of his groups today. It was something like that anyway, but he was very apologetic. So otherwise he would be here. But it is great to have you all here. Today we are going to look through the Action Network final report because we're quite excited about it. So hopefully you've at least looked at the front page. Woohoo! That's what it looks like. And today we're gonna literally rip it up and have a look through it and kind of see what we can draw out of it and get questions and all of that kind of stuff. So that's really cool. But before we get into that, I want to get you to head into some breakout rooms to, oops, no, I don't want to do that. To introduce yourselves so that you get to know who's on the call. So if I create 3 breakout rooms and I move them there, I'm just basically going to get you to do a couple of rounds of introductions so you just at least say hi to who's on the call. So I'll open the rooms, introduce yourselves, where you're based, maybe how many groups you've got or something exciting that's happening with your action groups, just for a couple of minutes, and then I'll mix you up again and we'll do that just a couple of rounds so that you get to know who's on the call. So there we go, open your room, just a couple of minutes to have a quick chat. You're right, Nicole. Oh, yeah, cool. Oh, you're muted.
I just cancelled it just to make sure I got this list right.
How do
I see people now?
So if you bring up the breakout room, you should have a breakout rooms button.
Oh, it says join breakout room.
Oh, it doesn't have.
Can you remove me from that invite?
Can I?
Oh, maybe, hang on, maybe I just need to spread this across.
If you don't have any other option.
I might do if I spread this across. Here we go.
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got 10 people. Does that sound right?
10, yep.
No, who am I missing?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yes, that's right, because Megan is 2 people. I've got to remember that. Actually, so that's going to be interesting. Well, we'll just have to do it.
What's that, sorry?
With Megan and Charles in the same room.
Oh, are they? Oh, okay, I didn't see that.
Yeah. So give them
2 pages?
2 pages, yeah, 1 each. So they.
How do you spell his last name?
Charles Green. I don't know how you spell that.
Search it up an email. It'll come up. Green.
Yeah, Green. All right, I'm going to close that and then reorganize. Nice, okay.
Cool. You just share that, Denise, or?
I might get you to
Share it.
Share it. Yep.
Yep.
Cool. Welcome back. Cool. So I'm just going to mix you up again and send you back out to introduce yourselves to hopefully a lot of people. We'll see how this goes. All right, so another couple of minutes just to say hi again. Cool. And Dusty, I need to put you in a was
where I was supposed to.
Yeah. There you go, Dusty.
So that's 12.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that's a wee hurdle when people share screens and things like this, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So I'll just, I'll make sure that, yeah, well, there'll be just a 3 rather than a 2. So there's nothing much I can do about it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
But at least I've got a separate page to.
Yes, that's right. So they'll still have 3 pages to share, which is really good.
And so the order is the order they came on screen.
Oh, cool. Okay.
For the randomness of it. So it's as random as they were.
Excellent. Okay. That's good. It's actually a few more than I'd hoped. So maybe a couple of reminders did help.
Yeah. And hopefully they've all had a look at the report and certainly got it open.
Yeah, yeah. I'll do that as part of the intro.
Yeah.
All right. There's them. Cool. Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully you've had a chance to at least see who's on the call and talk to most people. It's nice just to be able to have a chat rather than just look at faces on screens. So as I said this morning, we're going to be ripping up the Action Network final report and having a bit of a discussion. And literally we're going to use a facilitation tool called Rip It Up. And I think a couple of you may have been at an Action Hub in Christchurch, and I use this. And so like when you do it physically face to face, you actually have a report and you rip it all of the pages apart and you throw them around and people can pick up a page. And so literally that's why it's called Rip It Up. So we're adapting it for the online version and giving that a go. So it's basically a way of helping people work through a report without us having to read each of us having to read every single bit of it. And so you just get to read a page and then share that with others on the call in this case. So you will need a copy of the final report handy. So if you haven't already got either the PDF downloaded or gone to the Action website and just clicked on the link, I've just flicked that into the chat box for you. So if you could have it open, because we're going to give you a page number to basically look through to be able to do this exercise. So if you can make sure that you've got that. In a minute, Brendan's going to put up a table, and normally you'd actually just randomly pick up a page off from the report, but we're going to allocate you a page number and we're to look at, and then I'll give you a few minutes to read that page and pick out one idea that you think is really important or interesting to share from that page. Then I'm going to pair you up in breakout rooms, and you're going to get a chance to share the page and the idea or the important idea or the interesting thing to share. And then basically we'll just do a bit of a round robin, and I'll shift you around in pairs or threes actually, because sorry, Megan and Charles, you'll end up making a three to make sure this works. And basically you get to hear what other people's pages were all about. And so hopefully at the end of it, you get a bit of a sense of what's in the report, or at least what's in the pages that we're talking about. So before Brendan shares his list and what page you've got, does that vaguely make sense? Kind of, yes, yep, getting a few nods. Excellent, thank you, Liv. Cool, all right, brilliant. All right, so Brendan, if you're able to bring up the table, so you can see your name there.
Is that visible?
And sorry, go Brendan.
You can see that okay?
Yes, oh, I can, so that's good. You can see your name, and so you've got a page number. So you need to find your page number in the report. And I'm going to get you just to spend a couple of minutes reading through that page and pick an idea that you think is important or interesting to share. About 30 more seconds. All right. Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to read your page, get your idea. What I'm going to do now is send you into breakouts into either 2 or 3s, and you'll have probably 5 minutes or so to share your idea and discuss each of the pages you've got. And then I'll broadcast, and then I'm going to move you into a different pair. So you'll get a message that says, hey, I'm going to shift you into a new breakout room. Well, I'm going to basically move one of the pair along, and you'll get an invitation to accept, or basically you'll be moved into a different breakout room. So it'll take just a couple of minutes for everyone to be shifted around, and then you share again with a different set of people. And by the end of that, we'll do 2 or 3 rounds of that, and you'll hopefully get a bit of an overview of the report. Any questions before I send you into your breakout room? No? Okay, well, let's go. And Chris, I will assign you to a breakout room. Just give me a second.
Go where I was going to go because I'll pop around, Denise.
Okay, yep. And actually, Chris needs a page. He's going to join in.
27.
Yep. Okay, you've got page 27, Chris.
Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yep.
Page 20. Sorry, I just joined, so I'm not quite sure where you.
Yep, no, all good. So page 27 of the Action Network final report.
Oh, right. Gotcha.
Yep. You need to have picked an idea, one idea that you think is important or interesting to share from that page. And then I can send you into a breakout room to talk about that page, and everyone's sharing.
Page 27.
Yep. So do you need a moment?
So just finding the page. Here we go. Skill level. Okay, Denise, you can add me into a room.
All righty, cool. Thanks, Chris.
Denise, how do I jump around rooms?
So you'll have to accept your invitation, and then once you're in, you'll have a breakout room button, and you'll be able to just move as needed.
Oh, yeah. And so this moving exercise, I can't help you with that, can I?
No, because I have to do it, I think. So I was just going to pick the second person and move them into the next room each time. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I can just pop in and I can just hear what's going on.
Yep. But then you should have a breakout rooms button, so you'll be able to click that and just choose somewhere else to go.
Yeah. It's quite powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
I'll just let them settle into their intros and
Yeah. Was it working?
yeah. I popped in on Eve and Dustin, and they were chipping away, and then
Cool.
into Charles and Megan McCall. They've still got the same people in there. Have you given them longer?
No, I thought I moved someone.
Oh,
I moved Nicole out of Megan and Charles.
Sorry, it was
Yeah.
Nicole. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just moving every second person.
Yeah, Charles was just talking about the CASA thing, and just it was quite an interesting way he framed it. Actually, it's it's always in the positive, which is a good thing to see, and generally constant. But he was just picking up on that survey 5 point, so that'll be
Oh, good. Okay.
interesting to see if that comes up.
Cool. Okay.
I'll jump to another room.
Alrighty.
Was that another reshuffle?
Yes. Oh, have I ended up with Dusty and
G'day, Teffy. No, I'm all good
Hello,
now.
Justin. How are you?
okay.
Cool. Good.
Yeah,
Thank
sorry, I didn't realize you were all by yourself, Dusty, but you're all
you.
good.
No, that's all good. That's all good.
You got some mates now.
Yeah.
Yeah. You all good, Teffy? Everything well up there?
Yeah, now
Sorry, just had to
All good.
attend to a room. I think I've mixed them up again. Starting to lose track.
I'll go and listen in.
Like Harry Potter.
Sorry.
I feel like Harry Potter. I just keep disappearing.
It's true. Actually, that's a good one. Maybe that's what they meant in the Harry Potter series. Okay, alrighty. Hopefully we have hopefully you've had the chance to hear from a few people, plus being able to share the page that you got. We did concentrate on the kind of back end of the report, so there's still a whole lot of the front bit to be shared, but hopefully that's the bit we wanted to concentrate on. What I wanted us to do now is just jump into a Jamboard and write in any questions that came up as you were sharing and as you were thinking about either the page you were on or what you heard from others about their page. So I've just put in the chat box a link to a Jamboard, and if you're able to head into that, you will be able to put in there any questions that have come up for you. Remember, when you add a Jamboard sticky note, it does appear usually in the top left over the top of other people's. So just drag it over out of the top left. I'll give you a moment to jump in there and just type in a sticky note with a question or questions, more than one sticky note that any of what was covered raised for you. Oh, yep. And that's a good point, Brendan. I probably don't need to share it. I just wanted to make sure that people could see that people were heading in there. Cool, some good questions coming through. Give you a couple more minutes. Even if you've got a particular question for the page that you had, or someone else's page, chuck it in there. Awesome, 30 more seconds. If you do have a question, chuck it in the Jamboard. Nice. Cool. Yes, we know. Apologies, paperwork. Thank you for putting those together. All right. Okay. Cool. Got a few questions there, Brendan. So, team, Brendan, is there one that's standing? Oh, yep, cool. Thank you, Nancy. I see your question in the chat as well. Cool. We'll come to that too. Brendan, is there a question you wanted to start with?
I guess one of the first ones that came through was were group sizes of 7 to 9 effective in the end? Probably written by one Wayne Allen, perhaps. Look, oh, really? Hey, look, the whole idea around the 7 to 9 was to support that encouragement of the farm team to be involved. And where the sort of approach was followed, we definitely got the feedback that it was appropriate, and that was really powerful, particularly having the partners there. So in that respect, it was. I guess where there were situations where farm teams weren't involved, and sometimes there were challenges around the numbers turning up, and that became challenging, and that's also an issue that we've recognised as well. So I think overall, yeah, absolutely, it allows for that sweet spot of sort of 10 to 18 sort of people involved in a small group, and to that point, it was proved to be effective.
Yeah. Certainly the evaluation data seems to point to where there was that the trust that was built up, and there was that the different perspectives from the farm team that were incorporated. There was some good stuff that happened, which isn't to say that when the farm team wasn't involved, good stuff didn't happen. But you know, when they were, it was good.
I guess there's just to move it along, Denise.
Yep.
There's a couple of sticky notes there next to each other. What does Beef and Lamb think of the report, and then where to next for Action Group 2? Look, the report has not been long out, but certainly from a representation on the board perspective and senior management have recognised it as a nicely pulled together report, so that's positive. And I guess the other really heartening piece from the whole program in terms of Beef and Lamb, I've picked up Action Network and have taken the opportunity to integrate it into their, I guess, business as usual extension delivery into the future, and released recently in their farming excellence strategy the key role that action groups will play within that. So that's really positive. at this point, there's still quite a bit of detail to come in terms of what that looks like. But they've also articulated through comms and the like and through these sorts of forums that they're definitely going to be in there to support those groups that have established under Action Network and play a supporting role to help connect and touch in with those groups. But there'll be more to come in that in the short future.
Yeah. Wayne, any comment just on that at the board level? Was there anything you wanted to add?
No, I think Graham, who's a board member, was at a meeting for the liaison group with the industry going forward. So there is quite a bit of activity. There's definitely the intent that the action group concept continues. It's, I guess, how that morphs out will be in the hands of that group and Beef and Lamb as we go forward. But I think the board's pretty excited about the results that came out of it, and it'd be a real disappointment if it just faded away. So those are probably my personal views rather than the board view, but I think in general that'd be the sentiments that would be around the table. We didn't invest that amount of money lightly, I guess.
Yeah. No, and that was the reason for all of the evaluation work and the report to be pulled together to make sure that there was some feedback on all of that investment. So yeah, cool. Thanks, Wayne. Brendan, a couple of questions there around how Scarlatti calculated the economic impact of CASA on farmers and maybe the successful support pillars. So do we maybe tackle those?
You might be best to explain that.
Yeah, so basically well, I'll start and you can add. How's that, Brendan? Yeah, because so Scarlatti have used a model to determine the economic impact of Action Network and action groups. And as part of the model, what we needed to estimate was the impact of management on practice change. And so we use the data from the surveys, all of that CASA data and the reactions and feedback to help us estimate what we thought that percentage was. And then we also then pulled in some expert panel people. So there was Eve, I think Taffy, Graham from the board, several farmers also got pulled in to basically to kind of sense check that. So it ended up being 55, am I right, Brendan? Was that right? 50? Yeah,
the figure they used in terms of was conservative, probably in terms of what I think it was around 60 odd.
Yeah.
So the impact is due to human capability.
Yeah. Yeah. So they basically, it was a mix of data plus some expert opinion to get that. Does that make sense for the whoever asked that? And for anyone else? Is there more questions on that? Cool. I'll take silence as good. There is a report that Scarlatti has done. It's just not publicly released yet because it's still in draft, because they're going to redo it with all of the final figures at the end of the program in March. So it will be released, and there does have some more detail around what they did and their approach and all of that kind of stuff. So it will be available. And if you do want it, please let us know, because we are happy to give you a copy of the draft one, just knowing, but you have to know that it's just the draft version, and we're just keeping track of who has the draft version. So, but we're happy to circulate that if you're interested. So get in touch. Brendan, the most successful support pillars, did you want to start on that one?
Yeah, sure. Look, you know, for many, there are a number of factors within action groups, I guess, and one of the most powerful support pillars coming through, particularly in our survey work, has been the support of the group. And where those groups have been well established in terms of well facilitated, supportive, safe environments, that has definitely been an important factor. There's also acknowledgement in our evaluation of the role of the facilitator in and around that, which is really heartening to see as well. And also acknowledging where expertise that has come in is offered support within the group environment, but also beyond. I think one thing that's, we can always be looking at the lens of the farmers. However, I think one of the things that this program has brought is a support framework, and this is an example of it for the rural professionals, for the facilitators, and I think that's been really powerful, and those that have been part of it have been able to take into their practice new thinking and ideas to try.
Yeah. But I think, no worries. So Genevieve and Chris are just heading off. So all good. Thanks, Chris. That I don't think you can underestimate that peer-to-peer support, and that's come through really loud and clear. So in terms of that question, the successful support pillars, is that exactly what you were saying, Brendan, group members, but that's down to facilitators really building up the trust and the group to be able to have that environment where people can discover, oh my goodness, they've got the same problem as I have, and I'm not the only person. So yeah, we definitely know how hard you guys work as facilitators. There was a couple of questions around the environment. Here. From the practice change page, it sounds like all farmers have been putting an environment where they can implement practice change and have the confidence to try different management practices as a result. And yes, I think that's what we're just saying. So hopefully that makes sense to whoever put that in. Yep. And then let's now talk about some transition stuff, Brendan. So support to help transition into action, catchment groups, and maybe, and then we'll go into future plans and that kind of stuff. How does that sound?
Yeah, look, I think there's a lot of focus in around the catchment space at the moment, and there are a lot of different initiatives and support opportunities, right through from MPI through to and in this case, the sector Good Body and Beef and Lamb, and there's a good place to start. They've got a catchment program, community program, which supports catchments getting underway. I guess one of the heartening things we've also seen is where broader catchment groups have seen that they're covering a broad range of farmers and land types and over large areas, to be able to break that community down into smaller groups to actually nut out in a more relevant way their challenges and work through those as a smaller group. And we're seeing that taking place in a few pockets. Interestingly, there's still a lot of action groups coming through, joining up, and I would say probably 75% of those are environmental catchment sort of base groups. So yeah, if there are any other questions in around that, happy to take them, but it's certainly been recognised that the smaller group approach has a part to play in a broader catchment setting.
Yeah, and Olivia, I was going to just check in with you because I know you're working as well across all of this. Any comments from you around that environment catchment group space?
No, I can't really comment. It's not my space at the moment, and it's still a lot of it's still being worked on. So probably can't add a lot more. Sorry.
No, that's all good. I just wanted to double check in case there was something cool, because I know there. Yeah.
Can I make a comment?
Go, Wayne.
I wouldn't like to see all the focus go on catchment groups. I think that's one application for these, but I think that we're in danger of shortchanging the system if it's just all about catchment groups. I think that there is still a real benefit on the production and what's happening within the farm gate side of things, and from a business management point of view. So I wouldn't like to see all the promotion in the future be hung on catchment groups.
Is it a good opportunity to expose them to the small group level though, Wayne, in terms of the opportunity that small group can give, and then leverage off that to do other things?
Yeah, I definitely see it as one application, but
that's
and it may be the easy application, which then might mean that some of those other areas get neglected.
Yeah, I guess it's the ability to pivot from topic to topic in a small group, really, isn't it? Depending on the group, yeah.
Wayne, I agree wholeheartedly with you, and I don't think that it needs to be one group that has to address every situation. It might be that they're part of a couple of groups, depending on what their focuses are. I think it's more about the approach. It's the how. It's the vehicle. No matter what the problem is, and as rural professionals, it's about us understanding that to be able to help connect farmers in a way that's going to support their businesses. Which sort of, in some ways, leads to some of the questions around how a facilitator is going to get paid, and other options for engaging cost contribution, and et cetera, for the groups. I think it entirely depends on the situation. And at the end of the day, I think from my perspective, and we're looking at the report here, this program has certainly demonstrated that in a small group, it can add value to the bottom line of farms. It can help them with their production. It can help them with their profitability. And the value is about being able to demonstrate that with the farmers, so that return on investment for being part of a group is actually pretty insignificant in terms of the potential value they can get out of being part of it. So that's one view around that. There's also, as I alluded to before, there's a lot of government initiatives, funded initiatives. There's a lot of sector funded initiatives, and it's about being able to connect with those to know where that funding is that's going to support the farmers and whatever they're trying to address and tackle. So, yeah, that's my initial thinking around that.
Yeah, that's cool. And just a note on the paperwork, we have been listening and anytime we've been working that through at Beef and Lamb here, like with John and Megan and us, we've really tried to wrestle with what's the minimum requirement around paperwork and what would that look like. So it really does come down to, I think, how much money is involved. If there's less money or little money, then there's less paperwork. The more money, potentially there is slightly more paperwork. It's just part of the deal for being able to track these things. But we have been listening and it is being fed back. And I know John and Megan have definitely been asking the questions about what's the basic kind of version versus the all bells and whistles. So just in terms of paperwork and things like that. Yeah, any other comment on that, Brendan?
I guess it depends what we were talking about in terms of admin. Are we talking about having to develop an extension plan and farmers having to develop action plans versus having to submit invoices and detail those? I guess in terms of an extension plan, it's a good practice to plan as a group and set a path for a year and review that and monitor progress. That's another way of identifying the value. And once again, for farmers around action plans, it's good practice for them to be thinking of how they're going to apply what they're learning through the group, and also to take that a bit further in terms of the KPIs. Well, I think we've highlighted in the report, it's not always appropriate for all farmers to be trying to tackle that to begin with, but certainly helping them on that journey, because measuring and monitoring is being identified as a really important factor. So from paperwork, from that perspective, I don't think we should be shying away from it. I think we should be using it to the advantage for farmers to add value in that respect. Yes, Denise has touched on the headaches around invoicing and accounting for Crown and sector money.
Yep. But Nancy, to your question, the cross-pollination of facilitators and groups, I really think that that's what's coming through in the farming excellence strategy, is trying to make sure that that is supported, whether it's with action hubs, things like this, these type of calls. So John Ladley has been working through what that could look like and what's a way of helping that to happen without adding more and more stuff with Olivia and Laura and Briar, for example, here in the South Island, because they've already got heaps to do. So it's just working through what that looks like. But they're very conscious that cross-pollination is really valuable. So yeah, it's definitely part of the plan. Anything else there, Brendan, that you wanted to make a comment on before we wrap up? Because we are going to finish at 11.
No, I think just one point around the cross-pollination facilitators and this sort of opportunity in these types of forums and support networks. I get a feeling that that's being more widely understood. So we're certainly keen to try and support the establish of something that's continues into the future for and around facilitation and small group extension. So
yeah, yep, cool. Alrighty. So if you can just bring up your chat box, pull that up. Just want you to type in there one thing that stood out for you for today, and we'll just do that as part of the wrap up. Cool, and hopefully you also saw Charles' point about the resilience of farmers who had access to action groups versus those who didn't over COVID. And I agree, Charles, I put on the chat there that it would be really interesting, and just sorting out a control group would be the tricky bit, and making sure we could compare data. But yeah, we'll put that in the system and see what we can think about anyway. So thanks for that. So Nancy, good report, forward thinking. That was what we were hoping. So thank you. John King, good to get some idea of the successes. Absolutely. Still a lot of uncertainty. Absolutely, Olivia, in terms of future direction, but some good findings. That's cool. Sarah, when we set out to achieve small group, it's achieved. Yeah, it's cool. And Dusty says, Eve, discussing activity around breaking down the cost of farmers' time. Yes, she's been doing some really cool stuff to get them to break down the cost of their time and have that value conversation. Wayne's talking about supporting farmers. Absolutely, that's what it's all about. So cool. Oh, yep. Yeah, absolutely. Always open to feedback. Not sure that we can always do stuff about it, but we love feedback. It's good, but we will try, because I like that idea. I'm sure there's some good stuff in there. Well, cool. If you do have any other questions, or you'd like more details on anything that you've read in the report or anything that we've covered, please get in touch, because this was just a way of us opening up the conversation and hopefully getting you to dig into the report a little bit. Using that rip it up technique. Yep, thanks, Nicole. Great to have peer-to-peer conversations with other facilitators. Absolutely. Just as we talk about farmers doing peer-to-peer, facilitators peer-to-peer. And Megan, no, it's not the last meeting. We've still got a few planned while we're still here. The team is still here. So we've got one scheduled in. I think I have put it in your calendars for December, maybe the week before Christmas. Is that right? Maybe the 15th. Does that ring a bell? Hopefully. I think I've sent it out to you. Yep. And there we're going to just talk about having that value conversation. So we'll be exploring how do you have that value conversation with farmer groups, and looking for your ideas and thoughts on what's worked and maybe what hasn't, those kinds of things. So yeah, and we are looking to January to have a panel session on this with the observers, just to hear from them and what they've been seeing. So still hoping to give you some feedback and help you with the run to the last bit of RMPP Action Network to the end of March. So yeah, thank you so much for your time this morning. It's been great. Cool.
Yes, team. Thank you.
Thanks, Denise.
No worries, Kel.
Thank you.
No problems.